I'm just telling another group to come join me. Come on over there, guys. How's everybody's Friday doing? Hold on a sec as I get all my pages up and running. Just gonna play this music for a second while I get myself together. How's everybody's Friday doing? Please let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. How's your Friday doing? Who's with me? All right. I like this music option. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you're all doing really well. I'm Becca Greenspan. As it says right down there, if you're on Facebook and if you're on Instagram, I'm Becca Greenspan, founder and CEO of RG Adoption Consulting. I had always wanted to be called the CEO. So when I owned my own company, I don't know, for the longest time, I didn't. It felt pretentious. And then I'm like, screw it. I'm going to make my title CEO. So there you have it. Just because it was a dream. Hello, Anderson House, PRC, Amber Ray Hunt 82, Kim Mers 87. Hello, everybody. Hi, how are your little ones doing? All right, exciting. We've had a bunch of placements lately. I mean, we use Slack in our team to communicate, and we have a channel called Wins. And that's where we post everybody's babies and when we have a match and when we have a placement. And some people have been able to fly home this week. And we've had, I don't know, at least 3 pictures being shared up there. So stay tuned and keep watching our pages and you'll probably see these cute little babies. And if you are still waiting, I want that to give you hope and instead of sadness. So try to that mindset. It's huge. All right. So this week, a couple things came up. First thing I want to talk about is working with RG Adoption Consulting. We get this question all the time, so I'm just going to talk about it a little right now. And by the way, if you're in here and have any questions at all about adoption, pre or post, please type it in the chat and we will get to them. Also, if you've been following me at all, I really love to hear people's wins for the week. So before we get into what it looks like to work with us, tell me a win. Please tell me a win. Let me think. I mean, we had wins in RG Adoption Consulting for sure. And I'm going to say a win is I had 2 girlfriends staying with me this week. They are still here. So that's been really fun for me to reconnect. Longtime friends from Chicago and from just growing up. So that's my win, reconnecting with friends. What's your win this week from the week? As you are writing those down, let's talk a little bit about working with RG Adoption Consulting. So what does that look like? We have 2 options. You can work with us privately, or you can work with us in our online academy called the Adoption Roadmap Academy. Kim's win is that everybody's recovering from COVID finally. Thank goodness. My son had an exposure at school, so we're hoping he'll be okay. Working with us privately or in the online academy. And actually, one of our adoptions this week was from our academy. We've had a bunch lately. We had a match in the academy recently as well. So if you are the type of person that knows you need a lot of hand holding and you want somebody like to be your best friend through this process and have somebody on speed dial and need someone to ask a lot of questions to and just needs a lot of extra support and hand holding, then our private clients, our private option is definitely the way to go. If you're somebody who is a little bit more private of a person and really doesn't like people knowing everything happening in your life all the time, because adoption, as it is, when you get your home study, there's a lot of prying into your personal life. If that was so uncomfortable for you and you just don't need anyone else in your life, um, if maybe you're still going through fertility and you want to give that a couple more shots, but you also want to start with adoption, and again, maybe don't need to tell everybody what's happening at every step of your fertility journey while you're trying to also pursue adoption, the online academy is great for you. It's great for the person who feels like, I don't know about paying all that money for a consultant, but it would be nice to get some guidance. Well, you'd be getting a lot of guidance, because to tell you the truth, the people in our online academy, not only is it a few $1,000s cheaper, um, but one, there's no wait list. You can get started right away. And at the end of our conversation today, I'm going to talk a little bit about wait lists, and different segments of people and why some people have to wait longer. So we'll talk about that. But so our online academy gives you an option to just get started right now, versus waiting. It's a couple $1,000s cheaper. You go at your own pace. If you have to stop for a while, nobody's going to be saying, hey, where are you? Are you still interested? All the things. Sometimes with private, there's re-engagement fees if you kind of disappear for a while or need to put things on hold. You don't have that in the academy. You still get everything that we do with our private clients. We still give you a list of agencies. We still set you up with our profile designer. We're just going to be a little bit less hands-on. If you upgrade to be a VIP in our academy, you'll still get help getting vetted situations. You just might not get a as large a list of agencies to sign up with when you come to that time. I hope this is making sense for people. I know I'm going pretty quick. I just wanted to let you know that we do offer two different options. So there's pros and cons to both. But if you think, if you're considering adoption, you're not quite sure about consultants, but you really want the help, and the academy is geared towards somebody just starting out. Kendra, if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. And also, I'm going to, I don't think I can post a message in Restream. Hold on, let me see something. Oh, that did work. Okay, hold on. I'm going to post a link that you can use to set up a consultation if you are interested in doing so, because somebody just asked for more information. So let me just try to get that in there, and I will do the same thing in IG. All right. So if you are interested in finding out more information, you can go ahead and watch the video on our website, rgadoptionconsulting.com, where we walk you through every step of the way. There's also information about our academy on there. And then if you want more, if you have more personalized questions or are interested in maybe moving forward, then you can set up a consultation. So I invite you to do that. With the academy, do you have access to a specific consultant? Good question, Kim. And by the way, it's great for people who want to adopt for the second time also, may not need as much handholding. So you do not have a personal consultant in the basic academy. When you're going through the academy online, it's me walking you through everything on video and in PDFs and in worksheets, all of that. So I'm kind of guiding you through, and it's all written there for you. However, there is an option to upgrade to become a VIP member of the academy. With the VIP membership, when it comes time to signing up with agencies, after you have done so, let me back up. Not signing up with agency. When it comes time that you have signed up with agencies and you're starting to receive situations, when you become a VIP, you will be assigned your own personal consultant to help you vet each situation. That's what it means to be a VIP. You get a personal vetter to help you through that piece of it. And also, a huge bonus with the VIP program is we often get situations sent to us by agencies and attorneys who are looking for specific families. And there's multiple reasons agencies and attorneys will reach out to us. Some of them just don't keep their own list and only reach out to consultants. And then there's other reasons too that they would reach out to us. If you are a VIP in the academy, you will get to see those situations. So you will get extra situations sent to you. Whereas if you are a basic member, you are relying solely on the agencies that you sign up with. And that might be okay too. So there's a couple different options. Is that clear to you, Kim? Does that answer make sense to you? Let me know, because I know a lot of people get confused. All right, if you have other questions, and Kendra, on our website, we have a video. Our website is rgadoptionconsulting.com. I'm writing that in. There's a 15-minute video. And on that video, it goes through a lot of the most commonly asked questions. And one of them is how much adoption costs. And the cost of adoption, private infant adoption, usually ranges between $45,000 to $55,000, give or take on either end. Our part of it will vary a little bit depending on if you are working privately or through the academy. But that's a piece of that $45,000 to $60,000 or to $55,000, if that makes sense. Okay, perfect. Kim said, yes, it makes sense. We loved having access to Carly, so good to know. Okay. And the person you would be assigned to, a lot of our academy members who are VIPs, I work with individually. But it could be any consultant that you are assigned to. You don't get to choose. Whereas if you're working with us privately and you go on our website and you're like, I think I'd really connect with this person, you are more than welcome to let us know that, and we will do our best to make that happen, which we always have. Okay, I want to jump into fundraising a little bit. Controversial. Yes, it is controversial. And I want to go over a lot of fundraising ideas. So I wanted to kind of go over, I came across this article and I'd love to hear your opinions. I don't know. Do you think fundraising is okay? Do you think it's not okay? Why? If not, if so? But let me just tell you about this article I came across from an adoptee, and he claims, I am not a quote unquote angry adoptee, and I'm not anti-adoption, but this is his opinion of why he doesn't think you should fundraise for adoption. So I thought this was interesting. And if you're on our email list, we've been talking a lot about financials. So, and today's email was a little bit about adoption fundraising, not what we're covering today. But so he says, adoption fundraisers make no financial sense. It's simple economics, which dictates if you can't afford it, don't buy it. There are costs after the adoption, like the hundreds of thousands of dollars you'll be spending raising your kids. Why put yourself in that financial burden? Better yet, why put your would-be adopted child into that financial burden? And if you truly are compelled to adopt, why not look into the foster care system where you can actually receive financial subsidies? That's a common one that I hear a lot. Gina says, we used it in lieu of wedding gifts and had an amazing support. That's awesome. And we're going to talk about some fundraising ideas in a minute. But I don't know. I'd love to hear your opinion on any of these as we are going through. I do not agree with this comment. I think there is something very different about coming up with a huge chunk of money at one time, like $40,000 at once. If there was a plan to pay it off month to month, I think it would be a very different story, but that's just not how it goes. And very few people have that kind of change just sitting in their account ready to access at any given minute. Versus living expenses, I don't know about you, but I'm not spending even $20,000 a month or $10,000 a month or even $5,000 a month sometimes. So I think it's different. Kathy said, I did some fundraising and found it very uncomfortable asking, but was super humbled by responses from friends and family. I love it. So this guy, I'll tell you his name at the end. He is from here. I'll tell you him right now. Hold on. Who is it? His name is Kevin from A Gazillion Adoptees, I think is the name of his. Now I'm scrolling. Hold on. Yeah, Kevin Vollmers, who is the founder of Land of Gazillion Adoptees, in case you want to go check him out. Okay, the next one he said was that adoption fundraisers are tacky. He said, in short, home study approved parents can afford to adopt. Thus, the question needs to be asked, why are so many going online writing deeply personal stuff about themselves and oftentimes the children who have been referred to them and asking for money from friends, family, and totally random strangers? So his thing was, it's tacky. If you've been approved, then you can afford it. Again, what they're looking for when you get your home study is that, yes, that you can afford adoption, but more so that you can afford to have a child come into your life. And it kind of goes back, for me at least, and you may totally disagree, which is fine. And there are some things in here that I agree with, that what was my train of thought here? That just because you're home study approved doesn't mean that you have the $40,000 to $60,000 in your bank account right now, ready to be paid. I think that's two totally different things. He also says the third reason he does not like fundraising for adoption is that adoption fundraisers allow people to financially, quote unquote, double dip. He says, he quoted somebody else that said, adoption fundraising reinforces traditional hierarchies of power and privilege by giving money to the already wealthy to receive a child into their homes, rather than placing vital resources with the original families and original communities that would prevent children from being placed in the first place. Okay, that was the end of that. Okay, I get where he's going. And yet, I think they're two totally different things. There are a lot of agencies that are focused on helping the underserved population and the lower socioeconomic community who needs help get back on their feet. Hopefully, the adoption agencies are also providing resources. I talked to an adoption agency about this a little bit, and they made a point. I mean, it might feel a little icky, but that's not what their service is. But hopefully they're trying to connect them to those services if indeed that's all they need in order to parent their child. But as you and I both know, that is not the only reason why they might be choosing to place their child for adoption. That might be one of the reasons. Anyways, I just think that personally, I think they're two separate things. And I think to ask a random person, yeah, it would be nice if all of us raised money that we wanted to help to provide for women who are struggling financially. But that's not what the what the deal is here. Okay, let's see, anything else in the chats here? All right, the next thing he says is adoption fundraisers are disrespectful of the privacy of adoptees. And I kind of read this as adoptees who are a little bit older, but he said the adoptive parent community tends to overshare their children's histories. Agree. And it's something that needs to end. Totally agree with that. Adoptees' personal stories, as well as those of birth parents and first parents, should not be shared by anyone but the individuals who have experienced them. Would adoptive parents appreciate it if a bunch of former adoption social workers got together and wrote an expose about all of the familial dirt, financial problems, marital tensions, messed up family histories, trials and tribulations of infertility, etc., that they have witnessed? I don't think that would go over so well. Totally agree with them there on all of that. What that might have to do with people fundraising for infant adoption, I think, is a very different thing than a child that, I don't know. Yes, if you are sharing anything of the story of any child that you might be matched with, then ick. No, don't do that. Don't share anybody else's information except for your own. Agree with that point. Adoption fundraisers are anti-Christian, he says. What is surprising is the language used by would-be adoptive parents. They are compelled to adopt because God told them to, or it's God's will for them to have an adopted child. And God has given them their child through adoption. There's no regard for the fact that in adoption, someone, i.e., the adoptive parents, always gains something through the loss and suffering of another. He quotes somebody that says, "My Lutheran upbringing taught me the virtues of caring for your neighbors who are near and far instead of giving into your own desires." So I think he's saying it's selfish and it's very anti-Christian. Interesting. Is anybody agreeing or disagreeing with any of these? I'd love to hear your thoughts. He says adoption fundraisers reflect white privilege. Okay, I can buy into that. The adoption industry is a very white business. Absolutely it is. Do you see Black, Asian, Latino, and Native American parents use their connections and technology savvy to fundraise for adoption so that they can adopt white babies? No. These aren't my words. These are his. The guy who wrote this. So those are the basic things that he said about why he dislikes adoption fundraisers, reasons why adoption fundraisers are problematic. Then he goes on to say that it's colonialism. So anyways, that's Kevin Vollmers, who's the founder of Land of Gazillion Adoptions. Now, on the other hand, for those many hundreds and maybe thousands of people who don't find it problematic to fundraise. And, you know, I personally, I'm neither here nor there. I think it's totally okay. I think most people need help from somewhere, whether it's family or friends. And in a lot of cases, family and friends would love to support your journey. That's been my experience. Now, you also have to prepare for people, if you put yourself out there, to give you their own opinions, whether you like them or not. But I also came across this other article that lists all these creative ways to fundraise. And there are a lot of them. You could just Google adoption fundraisers. And I would love to hear what you have done or tried and whether or not it was successful or not, because I think a lot of people need ideas. But I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. Community potluck, where you host a potluck with a suggested $5 donation. I think that's great. Bake sale, lemonade stand, taco night with a suggested donation of $5 to $10 for a plate of 2 tacos. I love that. Adoption t-shirt fundraiser, GoFundMe. So evidently, as opposed to Kickstarter, GoFundMe will release your funds regardless of if you reach the goal you set. Didn't know that. Social media campaigns, church dinner, if your church is up for it, or synagogue, host a dinner on a Sunday night after service and ask everyone who comes to make a donation to your adoption fundraiser. Someone organized a half marathon? No, thank you. Not for me. Ice cream social, Noonday collection. Have you heard of Noonday? I've seen some of their stuff. That's beautiful. So Noonday Connection is a company. Trey, can you hear me? Trey? Shoot, I need water. Can somebody go get me some water? Can you come get me some water, please? Thank you. That's one good thing about your kids staying home from school, but we won't go into that. Noonday Collection is a company that sells jewelry at home parties. So you host a party, invite your friends and family, and show off their collection. And Noonday, oh, thanks. That's great. You want to say hi? Hi. That's Trey. That's my son. Who's home from school but not sick. Oh, and that's my puppy. Here we go. Taking a break. Anyways, Noonday has a special connection to adoption because it began when the founder was raising, thank you, Gina, was raising money to adopt her son from Rwanda. And so now Noonday jewelry is made by artists in impoverished nations, and a percentage of the sales help adoptive families. So that's a possibility. I love the idea of a parents' night out. If you are so inclined to babysit for a bunch of kids, you can set a standard amount, maybe $50 for the evening for your friends or whoever to go out on a date night, and you will watch their kids, maybe a pet sitting too, car wash. Just simply writing an adoption fundraising letter and sending it to people, family and friends. A toy auction, collecting new or gently used toys, and then hosting a raffle for families in your area, or a toy sale. Birthday campaigns. I do that on Facebook. I just did that for Back to the Roadmap Fund. Christmas campaigns. No Shave November for National Adoption Month. I love this one. Ask people to sponsor your No Shave November, not you ladies. Set a goal, maybe $500, and promise to keep the beard going through New Year's Eve if your friends can beat the goal. Love that. Fantasy football, NCAA brackets, video game tournaments, basketball tournament, garage sale, outdoor movie night. That's a great fun one. Selling homemade jewelry, selling your shit on Craigslist. That's a good one. Having a benefit concert at your home. A friend of mine does this all the time. Back in Evanston where I lived, she has a big yard and it would invite local musicians and have concerts. Hers was free, but you could do that if you have the yard for it. Starting a family change jar, lawn mowing and babysitting. I liked this one too. Both Hands fundraiser. Both Hands is a nonprofit organization that helps adoption fundraisers while they help someone else. So what does that mean? Basically, you sign up for a service project to do maintenance work on, say, a widow's home. You put together a team of people, and this company, Both Hands, will coach you with the plan to do the service project. You send out letters to raise support for the project, and the support raised also helps to fund your adoption. So you're helping you and someone else. Hosting a barbecue, doing a dog wash. Love this one too. Here's another really creative one. It's a baby bottle campaign. Has anyone heard of it? So you create a small insert around the size of a note card to put inside of a bunch of baby bottles. And on that card, you explain your adoption journey and how your friends can help by using the bottle as a change jar. And after a month, you'll collect all the bottles with the change in it, and it counts as funds towards your adoption. I love that. Having a benefit dinner, a trivia night, a golf tournament, coffee adoption fundraiser. Here's another company. It's called Just Love Coffee. It's a Tennessee-based company whose mission is to help those who are trying to make the world a better place. You sell coffee to your friends and you receive a portion of the proceeds. You can have a popcorn stand and get a popcorn machine. Adopt Together is another online platform for adoption fundraising. Donuts with Dad for the future dad. You can plan a morning for fathers and sons to get breakfast together and then they leave a donation. Or Muffins with the Mom to Be. Dance marathon, silent auction, restaurant fundraising, pampered chef, poker tournament, bowl-a-thon, puzzle piece fundraisers. That'll be my last one. And this is a cool one too. I read about this all the time. You find a puzzle or you can create a custom one with a family photo. And you set a price per puzzle piece. And donors purchase one piece and they write their name on the back, or they could probably write a message. And when all the pieces have been spoken for, have been sold, then you put the puzzle back together and then you frame it and it goes in your child's room. And once your adoption is complete, you can tell your child about the puzzle and how all the people on the back represent the people who care about them and love them so much to have made this adoption happen. So I loved that one. Has anybody else had a fundraiser that they have done that have worked? Kathy says, what are your thoughts about sharing sensitive information about an adoption with an organization offering an adoption grant? I think that's different because they want to know. I think it's different. I think they are adoption professionals. You are mostly sharing information about you. They want to know that, if you already know a lot of information about this particular situation, it just helps your case to get the grant. And they also want to see, like, are they helping siblings stay together? Or is this possibly a harder to match situation where they know they have a really good match in place and they want to help make this happen for the sake of the child? So I think that's a totally different, you're not sharing it with random people asking for money. This is an adoption grant organization. I think it's different. I don't know. Maybe you think different, but I tend to think it's different. Anything else about fundraising? Good, bad, indifferent? What are your thoughts? Anybody? Okay. I will move on to something else that came up this week, which is profile text. We edit tons of profiles, and I talk about profiles all the time. Sometimes as I'm going through and editing text, I will notice that families are using big words. Sometimes words that I have to look up or that I don't understand, or that just isn't a common standard everyday word for what they are trying to say. Even if that's the language you use all the time and you are somebody who uses a lot of big words, try to use more universal language. That's how I'll say it. So simplify what you are trying to say in a way that anybody who picks up your book, no matter who they are, will be able to understand it. So that's just a little profile tip that I have. And then I wanted to go back. Okay, you're welcome, Kathy. And talk a little bit about wait lists for various segments of people. So we had to make a really difficult decision at RG Adoption Consulting based on what we are seeing across the country with adoptions as well, which is, and I think I've talked about this as well, most agencies will only take a certain amount of different segments of people, right? So they'll only take X amount of people wanting a white baby with no drug exposure. I don't know, maybe two, because it rarely happens. They'll only take a certain amount of gay couples or lesbian couples or single women, they'll take every black or biracial couple that walks into their agency. There is never enough because there is a great, great, great need. But for almost everything else, they are going to put a limit. And even for, a lot of people think, oh, well, I have all the money in the world. Money is no object. They'll take me. And you're only open to a white baby with no drugs. No, they won't. It has nothing to do with the amount of money you have sometimes, all the time. It really doesn't. They want to be able to know that they can match you. So we have also been experiencing the same thing because lists are so full. And some of our families have been waiting for a long time, and we've been seeing trends. So we have a wait list right now for single women and lesbian couples and families with more than 2 children. As our families that we have currently take placement that fall within those segments of people, we will add the next person on our list, make them active. We hate that. We hate that we even have to do this, but we don't want you upset with us when you're sitting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And we like to really have our hand on the pulse of what is happening across the country. And this is what we're seeing. I think that our single women will move through fairly quickly. We just had a single woman take placement last week. And yeah, I'll just give you an idea of, like, on my list right now, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. We have 19 families who are matched right now, both from our private and our academy. Of those, we have one person's on here right now watching. 1, 2, 3. We have 3 single women matched. So when they take placement, we'll bring on another more single women. I don't think we have any same-sex women right now. Just a quick glance. So we just want to be, and we haven't had none in first quarter either. We haven't had a lesbian couple adopt at all in the first quarter. And so we just want to be realistic. And it's not to say they're not happening. Yeah, that's it. I don't think we have any same-sex couples matched right now at all, but our same-sex male couples seem to match and adopt really quickly. And I don't know if that's because there is no mom involved at all, and so the birth mom will always only be the mom. And that might play into it at all. If you're a same-sex female couple, I suggest in your profile, you really highlight how beautiful it is that their child will have 3, love from 3 mothers. Like, how beautiful is that? And really play that up and don't hide behind it. Anyways, any question? I am rambling now, but I wanted to get across all of those things and just kind of start to explain why we're making the decisions that we're making. We don't take them lightly, and it's really hard for us to say no to anybody because we want to help anyone that we feel could really provide a beautiful home for a child. So it has nothing to do with you personally and everything to do with what's happening in the adoption world. So I hope today's live, which was really long, the longest one I've done in a very long time, was helpful for some of you starting out, gave you some things to think about. And please join us in these conversations every week. I'm here every Friday at the same time, same place. I will see you next Friday. Until then, have a wonderful, wonderful week and make sure to celebrate all the small wins along the way because it really makes a big difference. Bye, guys.